So if there's no objection, I will begin that process. Mr. Jameson, I'm going to read all the bill numbers that I think are on consent. Once we've agreed to that, then I'll read the captions for those.
Correct, and we'll ask the members if they wish to have a discussion on any bill number you hear, please raise your hand or make yourself known. Otherwise, we'll consider that on the consent agenda. Then the chair will read the actual captions of all those on consent, and a single vote will dispose of them.
Great. Okay, so that's the plan. So right now, the resolutions and, can we do resolutions and bills together? The resolutions and bills that are proposed to be on the consent agenda are RS 2017-823, RS 2017-828, RS 2017-829, BL 2017-837, BL 2017-838, BL 2017-839.
Hang on.
Oh, there's a hand.
She did say 837. Pull that one.
Pull that one. Okay, thank you. BL 2017-840, BL 2017-841, BL 2017-842.
Has an amendment. That has an amendment. 842 has an amendment.
I'm told that 842 has an amendment. That will not be on the consent agenda. Okay. BL 2017-799. I'm skipping some because I have amendments and substitutes. BL 2017-809, BL 2017-810, BL 2017-811. I have an amendment. BL 2017-813, BL 2017-814, BL 2017-817, BL 2017-818, BL 2017-820, BL 2017-822, BL 2017-823.
Is that an amendment?
It's a letter to approve.
Oh,
Okay. BL 2017-825, BL 2017-827, and
It's just a letter to approve, so.
very good. So those are the resolutions and bills proposed for the consent agenda. Are there any others that need to be pulled? Okay, if not, I will read the captions and then we'll vote on those in a single vote.
Correct.
I'll begin with RS 2017-823, sponsors Anthony Davis, authorizes the Director of Public Property to acquire real property as part of the Clean Water Nashville Overflow Abatement Program. I have a letter to approve. Resolution 2017-828, sponsors O'Connell, authorizes Cafe Intermezzo Nashville LLC to construct and install aerial encroachments at 205 DeMunbrian Street. Resolution 2017-829, sponsors O'Connell, authorizes 104 Fifth Avenue South Investors LLC to construct and install an aerial encroachment at 104 Fifth Avenue South. BL 2017-838, sponsors Allen adopts property identification maps for Metro government for tax assessment purposes. BL 2017-839, sponsors O'Connell, authorizes Third and Lee Partners LLC to install, construct, and maintain underground encroachments in the right-of-way located at 615 3rd Avenue South. BL 2017-840, sponsors Sledge, Allen, and Elrod, authorizes Broadstone South Gulch LLC to install, construct, and maintain underground encroachments in the right-of-way located at 903 8th Avenue South. BL 2017-841, sponsors Withers, Allen, and Elrod, authorizes Metro to abandon existing easement rights for property located at 804 Sylvan Street. BL 2017-842, sponsors Anthony Davis, Allen, and Elrod.
There's an amendment on 842.
Has an amendment. We will pull that one. Next is BL 2017-799, sponsors Leonardo, amends the Metro Code pertaining to construction, demolition, landfills, and sanitary landfills. BL 2017-809, Murphy, cancel 0.91 acres of a planned unit overlay development district for property located at 5400 Burge Avenue. BL 2017-810, sponsors Murphy, changes 2.07 acres from RM20 and RS 7.5 to SP zoning for properties located at 5402 and 5408 Burgess Avenue and a portion of 5400 Burgess Avenue to permit 8 multifamily units. BL 2017-811, sponsors Scott Davis, changes 0.72 from RS5 to RM20A zoning for properties located at 115, 117, and 119 Elmhurst Avenue. Next is BL 2017-813, sponsors Syracuse, changes 2.28 acres from CS, IWD, and R10 to SP zoning for properties located at 1600, 1602, and 1604 Lebanon Pike to permit 25 multifamily units. BL 2017-814, sponsors Murphy, applies 4.5 acres of a neighborhood conservation overlay district for various properties along Colorado and Nebraska Avenue, southeast of the intersection of Utah and 46th Avenue North. Skipping that one. Next is BL 2017-817, sponsors Murphy, applies 17.93 acres of a neighborhood conservation zoning overlay district for various properties along Leonard Avenue and Carden Avenue, west of Bowling Avenue. BL 2017-818, sponsors Scott Davis, changes 0.42 acres from CL and R6 to MULA zoning for properties located at 1033 and 1043 East Trinity Lane. Next is BL 2017-820, sponsor is Van Rees, changes 1.24 acres from SP and RS10 to SP zoning for properties located at 704, 78, and 710 Due West Avenue North to permit up to 28 multifamily units. Next is substitute bill, which has already been substituted. 2017-822, changes 14.81 acres from R8 to RS7.5 for various properties along Cantrell Avenue, Carden Avenue, and Leonard Avenue, west of the intersection of Craighead Avenue and Roland Road. And Council Members Murphy is here somewhere. Yes, okay, just checking. Next is BL 2017-823, sponsor is Dowell, changes 6.3 acres from RM9 and RM20 to SP zoning for various properties located along Rural Hill Road, east of Mountain View Road to permit up to 72 multifamily units. BL 2017-825, sponsor Syracuse, changes 6.39 acres from CL and RS10 to SP zoning for properties located at 119, 121, 125, and 135 Donaldson Pike to permit 208 multifamily units and commercial space. Next is BL 2017-827, sponsors O'Connell, updates and clarifies the downtown code subdistricts within Chapter 1737 of the Downtown Code. That is the consent agenda. Are there any items that need to be pulled? Any discussion? All those in favor of the consent agenda say aye. Any opposed? Those are recommended 11 to nothing. Okay, just a second to record those. Are you ready, Mr.?
I'm done.
Okay, great. All right, we will go back and catch the bills that are not on consent. First one is BL 2017-837, sponsors Vercher, Johnson, Karen Johnson, and others, authorizes the acquisition of property for the purpose of building a new Metro Police precinct. Do I have a motion? Been moved and seconded. I have a request to speak from Mr. O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know if we will, maybe this is going to happen in public safety as a more appropriate location, but I think because it is it's referred to this committee as well. This is one where I would just love some more information from the police department about how this fits into a strategic vision. Obviously, I know there has been a long demand for a greater amount of service in Southeast Nashville. As somebody whose district is covered by a portion of Hermitage Precinct and new police headquarters, where at least at one time there's enough land there that there was some discussion about another precinct being located there. I'd just like a better understanding of our overall kind of public safety, real estate assets, and planning for precinct expansion, et cetera, if we could get one. I don't know if we'll be able to do that in this committee or not, but I'd be happy to allow the sponsors to speak to whatever they know of the bill. Thanks.
Thank you. I don't believe there's anyone from Metro Police here. If the sponsors can speak to it, then we can let you decide if that's answered your question sufficiently. Councilmember Vercher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As it relates to the strategic vision for the police department, I can't speak to that. What I can speak of the need for Southeast Davison, hate to sound like a political soundbite, but it's one of the fastest growing areas in the city. One of the most populated areas in the city. I guess we can defer that question to the police department as it relates to their strategic plan.
Thank you. Since this we could re-refer this to this committee and ask that MNPD be here at the next meeting if that's preferred. Councilmember O'Connell. Thank you, Councilmember Berger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think what I'll do is try to, well, I guess we'll see if we have an opportunity to look at this on the floor, but it might be worth a re-referral at some point. I guess I'll think through that once we get to the floor on this. I guess my other question might be for administration or Metro Finance about the price point. I don't know if that came up in budget and finance, but I would just like to get a little bit of insight into, you know, where this falls on the spectrum of land values out there, and if it has the general support of everybody on the Metro side, including the police department, if we think this is actually a reasonable capital expenditure, et cetera.
Councilman, I didn't know I was getting into this tonight, but I'm happy to address some of your questions. This property will be able to be purchased at below appraised value. So we think we're getting, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Right, just slightly above the appraised value. But as we've identified areas, there's a large piece of property, and not only will it have potential for a police precinct, but we think there's other public safety and other city functions that'll be able to utilize this property. The exact functions we're still working on, but this property is available now to purchase, and that's why we felt the need to go ahead and move on it now, but has the full support of the police department and obviously the administration.
Thank you. Councilmember Virtue, anything else you would like to add? No, okay. All right, any other questions? Do we want to re-refer this? It's on second reading. We could hear it again before third reading.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think I'm content to let this go without a re-referral because I think we'll have an opportunity to discuss it on the floor.
Okay, sounds good. So, that being said, no other discussion. All those in favor? Any opposed? Bill is recommended. Next is BL 2017-842, sponsors Anthony Davis, Alan Elrod. I was told this had a substitute?
There is no amendment.
There was no amendment.
No
Okay.
amendment.
This abandons Lofton Avenue right-of-way. I wondered how you could amend that. Is there any discussion? Is there a motion? Been moved and seconded. No discussion. All in favor? Any opposed? Great. Next bill's on third reading, BL 2017-762. Sponsors Roberts changes 0.8 acres from R8 to SP zoning for properties located at 6015 and 6017 O'Brien Avenue to permit up to 9 residential units. I understand there's a proposed substitute. Can someone from planning tell us about the substitute?
The substitute reduces the number of units to 7. It relocates the drive aisle from one side of the property to the other, and it also adds a condition pertaining to the drive aisle and site distance requirements.
Thank you. Is there a motion to move the substitute? All right, all in favor of the substitute? Any opposed? I'll consider that 11-0. Is there a motion to approve as substituted? Yes, there is a letter from the sponsor to approve. Thank you for asking. Is there a motion to approve as substituted? Thank you. Any opposed? All those in favor? Any opposed? Bill is recommended as substitute. Next is BL 2017-797. There's a proposed amendment to this one. Could I get someone from planning to tell us about that?
This is a housekeeping amendment pertaining to the wording in Section 7.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the amendment? All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? I do have a letter from the sponsor to approve. Do I have a motion? Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Bill is recommended as substituted. On to BL 2017-812, sponsor is Pulley. Changes 15.8 acres from R10 to RS10, zoning for various properties along Grandview Drive, Granny White Pike, and Ackerman Court between Leland Lane and Granny White Pike. This is disapproved as submitted, but there is a substitute which is approved by the Planning Commission. Can you explain the substitute?
The substitute simply removes parcels consistent with the Planning Commission's recommendation.
Thank you. So some parcels are removed. Do I have a motion on the substitute? It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Do I have a motion on the bill as substituted? Okay, I do have a letter to approve. All those in favor? Any opposed? Bill is recommended as substituted. Next is BL 2017-815, sponsors Mina Johnson, changes 10.7 acres from R8 to SP zoning for property located at 11 Vaughn's Gap Road to permit up to 54 multifamily units. I understand there is a substitute. Would the sponsor like to explain that, or would you like for planning to? Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This substitute is going to add 3 additional conditions. As you may recall, there was some opposition voice at the public hearing. So we have met 8 times prior to the public hearing. However, we had another additional meeting after the public hearing and came up with additional condition incorporated in this bill. So one of the conditions is, although this site currently will not have any blasting, but surrounding condominium owners are very concerned about their effect if blasting would happen. So one of the conditions will have pre-construction similar to blasting survey will be conducted prior to issuance of grading permit. And another condition was surrounding neighbor, again, was concerned about short-term rental property, don't want to be in that particular development. So I'm adding, although the homeowner will be adding no short-term rental on the condominium covenant, but I am adding on the bill requesting there is no short-term rental. Also, those neighborhood street, they are concerned construction traffic coming through neighborhood street. Mm-hmm. So they are requested all construction traffic shall use only Highway 100 to Bones Gap Road access point to access to the construction site. So those specific conditions are added on top of all other specific conditions. So that's a substitute.
Great, thank you congratulations on working that out. We have a motion on the substitute. All those in favor? Any opposed? Can I have a motion on the bill as substituted? It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Next is BL 2017-816, sponsors Freeman, changes 0.82 acres from RS10 to SP zoning for properties located at 98 Rose Street and 99 Evelyn Drive to permit 6 multifamily units. Understand there's a proposed substitute. Does the sponsor want to explain that?
Thank you, Chair. This substitute, what it does, it limits the number from 6 to 5. It adds in a height requirement, or height, limits the height on 4 of the units. 5? All 5. Okay, all 5 of the units. Just that way we're not looking into our neighbor's backyard. And it also adds a condition where the drives have to be made of pervious surfaces to help with some of the runoff issues, and I would just appreciate your support.
Great, thank you. So is there a motion on the substitute? And second, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion on the bill as substituted. Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Bill is recommended as substituted. Now we are on to BL 2017-826, sponsor Scott Davis, disapproved by the Planning Commission 801, changes 0.4 acres from RS5 to RM20 zoning for property located at Sharp Avenue, unnumbered, west of Ellington Parkway. Councilmember Mina Johnson, are you left over from the previous? Okay. Does planning have do you do you can, all right. Can you explain briefly? Thank you. Oh, Rosie, what do I do? How do we get that up there? Give us a moment for technical catching up. There you go. Thank you.
This is a request to rezone from RS5 to RM20 for property located at the terminus of Sharp Avenue. The Planning Commission recommendation was to disapprove. Here's another shot of the property. It is at the end of Sharp Avenue, adjacent to a railroad track. The existing zoning is RS5, residential single family, 5,000 square foot minimum lot size. The land use policy for the property is a bit of conservation adjacent to the railroad track and urban neighborhood evolving. The Planning Commission found that the property was located within the interior of an established neighborhood at the end of a dead-end street. The alley at the rear of the site is unimproved, and the proposed zoning, which could permit up to a maximum of 8 residential units, was inconsistent with the surrounding land use pattern and would change the character of the existing neighborhood. It would also increase the traffic flow through an established neighborhood. The Planning Commission recommended that the RS5 zoning remain in place as the use was consistent with the policy and the character of the existing neighborhood, and the Planning Commission recommended disapproval.
Thank you. Okay, we have several people in the queue. Councilmember Amina Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think this is the one kind of coming back by resolution, so the current plan is exactly the same plan as the disapproved plan, and so therefore district council member needs 27 votes. Is that correct? Yeah. This one I do struggle because I really greatly respect district councilman's effort to bring reasonable development with literally undeveloped area, because surrounding neighbors, it looks like they have long-time resident and also some resident did some improvement and so forth. So to make it compatible, district councilman is trying to bring reasonable development. For that reason, I really hate to oppose it, but I do appreciate the effort and recommendation of the planning commission and the planning staff, because without those, counterbalance and guidance, if, we start changing the zone as each, district councilman see fit, we will not have any consistency or coherent plan. For that reason, I am with Planning Commission. However, I literally drove to the district, and I do understand where a district councilman is coming from. So I greatly respect that, but I am not there to support yet. So for that reason, I will be abstaining. And so in the tomorrow, the correct course of the action will be to propose SP, but I understand currently there's no developer to take on that challenge. So maybe that's the struggle for the district council member. So with respect to that, for both the district council member and for work for the planning commission and planning staff do, I will be abstaining. And tomorrow, depending on how much support district councilman have on the floor, I may change my vote.
Thank you. Councilmember Murphy.
So this is the bill that was disapproved by planning, came back to us. He did not receive the 27 votes to pass, so it failed. And then there was the strange resolution that brought it back before us. Is that correct?
I think I'm going to refer to council on this.
correct.
That is correct.
Okay. I believe I abstained the first time around since this was a disapproved bill, and this was a site that I visited, and I felt like this density is a lot at the end of this very narrow street. But because this is a bill that failed on the floor and came back without any changes to try to improve it or address concerns, I'll be voting no today.
Thank you. Councilmember Withers.
Just want to rise in support of my colleague on this one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilmember Scott Davis.
Why are we bringing this bill back? Once again, when on your desk last time, you saw this was the same bill, and that was the night of the voting of our election. A lot of people asked to bring this bill back because everybody was out of their seats congratulating Sam Coleman. And so there may have been more people out of the seat than normal. This piece of land is a blight. Okay, with the setbacks, the creek and everything there, with the RM20 zoning, the most that they'll be able to do here is 2 houses on close to a ½ acre, if they could do that. It abuts the back of 12 houses that's owned by one property owner, which is the bane of the codes department. On your desk, I'll put it back again. There was a letter from the codes department. What's going on in this area? Mr. Withers is with me because he did a ride-along over here with our police department and saw the issues. People may not want it in their district, but they don't have those districts. They don't have those issues in their neighborhoods. You may think this is the end of the street, but when you have 10 abandoned houses, when you have 30 code violations from the owner that's behind there with a similar sized lot that dumps onto this lot, and then you have a buddy up against the railroad tracks. You have the old lumber yard that's zoned into industrial where Inner City Ministries is there, and you have a piece of land that is very, very tough to develop. And right now, nothing can be done, and the owners are willing to try and do something. They're tired of cleaning up the mess from the destructive neighbor behind them. They're tired of them dumping their meth and needle materials over there. I can understand, hey, if you don't want to vote for it, fine. But I am trying to clean up a mess here. And the only way I can get is to get a disapproval just so, hey, law enforcement, they don't agree with it. And sometimes I agree with Mr. Withers, sometimes we don't. But usually when we agree both on a zoning matter, that's a problem. You know what I mean? And I believe, Larry Hager had some great comments last time about where this thing is, and I'm glad that, people are going to the site and visiting, but if you've truly been there into the street in front of it, you will understand. And I'm just asking you to support me on this one because this is an eyesore. No developer wants to touch this. And one way I've learned that gets rid of blighted property, burned down trailer parks, and just acres of just junk cars is a good RM20 zoning. And I'm asking for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Hager.
I want to let everybody know that my colleague, Councilman Davis, is right. That night we had that election, everybody was outside the room. I don't normally go against planning, but on that piece of property, I know where it's at. He gets dumped on constantly. He gets calls from constituents constantly about the illegal dumping and trying to clean it up. I have the same problem in some areas over in Rayon City area where they're in the dead-end streets. They dump tires. They dump anything they can back there. And I'd love to see it cleaned up, but it's an industrial restrictive area. So the reason that it didn't pass the last time is because a lot of us were out of the office. And like I've said, anything's better than what's there now, and I can understand and sympathize with Councilman Davis trying to clean this area up. And if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes, so I'll be supporting it.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think with having looked at some of the challenges of location, I would love for the sponsor to speak to why this, I don't know. I don't know if planning might also advise on this, if it would make more sense to do this as an SP versus an RM20, because I worry that without any kind of design guidelines here, the infrastructure is going to be particularly challenging. And I know the sponsoring council member has suggested that no developer wants to touch this. I do kind of wonder if we could get some more confidence that the overall development would be successful on the rezoning if we got an SP there. But maybe planning staff, maybe the council member can speak to that. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll recognize the planning staff first.
It's difficult to say without looking at an SP plan. There's potential in this location because it is a larger lot that a few more units or even 2 units in a different configuration could be permitted because the lot is actually big enough to have 2 lots. But we could look at how to site those 2 units differently with an SP. If it were an SP that permitted the maximum under RM20 of 8 units, I think it would be difficult to have that comply with policy.
Thank you. Councilmember Brenda Haywood.
I would also like to rise in support of my colleague. I'm over there quite often visiting the inner city ministry. So I definitely understand what he's up against, and I would just like to rise in support of this bill.
Thank you. All right, do we have a motion? Is there a motion? That was a motion for approval. Great, okay. Any further discussion? Let's see. Councilmember Davis, are you up again?
My colleague, Mr. O'Connell, I think there's a map when you scroll down that when planning pulls it up, there is what makes this site challenging. Like you got that, that lot is only half that wooded area. When you go down that way, you see the railroad track there. There's Inner City Ministries down. There's a large creek and water drains that runs in the middle of that That is why, even with the RM20 zoning, you know, that they're not going to get more than 2 houses on there. They may not even get the 2. I mean, somebody suggested I would need an RM40. I wasn't willing to test that, you know, but to get 1 unit on there, you know, without flooding and maybe 2, because the site is big enough to subdivide if it didn't have all the challenges on it. I mean, it causes a lot of issues. And the houses on the front street are 12 kind of abandoned houses owned by the same owner that owns that back parcel. And what they do is they run their junk cars, and as Mr. Withers contests, they go from house to house when the police bust one area for meth, and they dump everything on that back lot. So they'll take everything they've stolen and all the tires and everything, and they'll push it on that back lot and say, hey, that's not us. And then in the middle of the night, just like in a lot of our neighborhoods in East Nashville, since it's a dead-end street and it's wooded, they'll come and they'll dump everything in that thing. So I'd rather have 2 houses on there than a junk pile mess there. So I'm just asking for support, and I'm sorry to take up so much time, Madam Chair.
Thank you, appreciate it. Councilmember Mina Johnson?
Yes, I just want to ask planning a quick question. Even though this is not just straightforward zone change, if somebody want to build over there, they are responsible for the street improvement, isn't it not? Because I think currently the street kind of finish before that empty lot.
Likely through Public Works, they'd be required to extend the street and probably due to fire marshal requirements, provide some sort of turnaround for a fire truck. But that would likely be at the entry or at that property frontage, not widen the rest of the street, which is fairly narrow.
Thank you. Again, as of right now, I will be abstaining.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your hand very high. Thank you. Seven. All opposed? Thank you. And some abstentions. Bill passes. That concludes planning. Thank you for being speedy.